are Heather and Paul Christie.
And for over 12 years, we've worked with executives and entrepreneurs to accelerate change in every aspect of their business.
Because we are in the fastest paced business environment that anyone has ever seen before.
So join us for the Evolve to Win show. Hi, and welcome to another Evolve to Win show with Heather and Paul. But as you can see, Heather is not with me today. She's traveling, and we were going to do assessment debriefs. We're going to push that off until next week. But I wanted to talk to you about something that is a human nature issue. It's just with every single human being out there, we have this innate ability to blame everyone for our lives. And a lot of people that may be listening to this, they say, well, I don't blame anybody for my life. I take full responsibility for it. So that may be true. And maybe there is a person out there that truly takes 100% responsibility for their life. But I would say the vast majority, 99.9% of the human beings in this world are born. They grow up as kids. Their parents may do everything for them or nothing for them. And it doesn't matter because they will blame them for everything in their life or a lot of things in their life. And so the thing that, as I was growing up, I did the same thing, typical. My parents were divorced a couple of times. I moved around, was a latchkey kid back in the 70s. Did not do that great in school, did not complete college. So as I was growing up and I got into my 20s and things weren't working out for me as well as I wanted them to, I realized that, boy, it was my mom's fault. If she had been, better at helping me with my homework, or she had helped me with financials, teaching me financials, or maybe if I didn't move around as much, I would have a better life. Things would be working out better for me. And so I lived my life like that. And I didn't tell a lot of people about it. It just was an internal issue that I was dealing with. And I know a lot of people do that. And a lot of people are still blaming their lives on their parents or brothers and sisters or grandparents or friends. There's a lot of people out there that haven't talked to their parents or haven't talked to their mother, their brother or sister in years, 5-10 years, which is just amazing. And so back in 2001, I went to a workshop seminar, and I learned a tool that I want to share with you today that I think for me created, when I was taught it and I internalized it, it literally lifted the weight off my shoulders and allowed me to have personal freedom, because personal responsibility, taking personal responsibility for your own life and everything that's happened to you in your life, is what truly sets you free. As long as you are blaming somebody else, it's always somebody else's fault, and you'll never be free. So the opportunity here is to take this lesson and think about it. And I'm going to give you a couple of steps on how you can use it to maybe get the freedom in your life. If there's things that you need to clean up, relationships that you need to repair, things that you just need to forgive so that you can have the freedom and then take personal responsibility for your entire life. So I'm going to show you right now. This is the way human beings, for whatever reason, we do it. We take, and I don't know if this is going to be backwards, but we'll see. So we think we're living in the present, right? We think we're living in the present, but we actually, when we're living in the present, we're taking everything that we learned in the past and everything that's happened to us in the past, and we take all of that information, all of that knowledge, all of that experience, all the good, all the bad, and we take it and we bring it into the future. And so we're not really living in the present. What we're doing is taking things that have happened into the past, and then we bring it into the future. So for example, most everybody has dated somebody in high school with their first love. They fell in love and they have their heart broken one time or another, whether it happened in high school or happened in college. You get your heart broken. And then you end up getting your heart broken and you say, oh man, that really hurt bad. I do not want that to happen again. So you put up the defenses and you say, well, I'm going to find somebody, but I'm not going to give them the unconditional love like I did that first one because I do not want to get hurt like that again. And so what we're doing is we're taking all of that relationship in the past and we're putting it into the future, into the new relationship. And so that's what we carry along. And we do that for everything. So, if things happen to us in the past with our parents or with siblings or friends or whatever, all of those bad experiences that we have, we put into the future that go up as a defense mechanism for us. And so I was taught this in that workshop. And I said, well, that makes sense because that's what's happening to me all the time. And the problem is the future wasn't looking that great to me. Was struggling a lot, couldn't find the answers, and did not have the personal freedom. Just felt like things weren't going the way that I wanted them to go. And the reason I'm telling you this is because, our show is all about leaders and leadership, but we're also all human beings. And if you're still carrying stuff in the past that you haven't resolved, that's going to show up in your future all the time. And if you are showing up with everything in the past in your future, how are you going to be able to lead people? So what I was taught is that what I needed to do was to take the things that were in my past and put them back in the past. And so how do you do that? So how do you take, if all of the past stuff is going into the future, constantly going into the future, how then can you have the personal freedom? How can you have the possibilities to open up for you to have a different life, to look at things differently? Because you're always looking at things from the rearview mirror. And so the lesson that I learned that literally changed my life was that I needed to take everything in the past and put it back where it belonged, which was in the past, no longer in the future. So all that was showing up in the future, put it back into the past where it belongs. And so what does that look like? So it was having tough conversations with people. It was cleaning up and taking responsibility for things that have happened in my life. So I had a conversation with my mom, and this was back in 2001, and just letting her know that, you know what, she was doing everything that she was trying to do back then, struggling as a single parent mom, trying to make ends meet, trying to do the best she could, and just recognizing that and realizing that it is what it is. And there's nothing else that there's no reason, there's nothing that's going to benefit me by continuing to blame her for the things that are going on in my life that aren't working out. So having that conversation with her and apologizing to her and just cleaning that up. And so that was one of the conversations. I had another conversation with my dad. I had some other conversations, but a lot of what I needed to do was to just resolve all of those issues that were hanging out there for me that were keeping me from being who I could potentially and possibly be. And once I started doing that, and the tool that they used or what they recommended was that we write down what happened in our past and just get it all out on paper. And so I did that. And then they had us read that letter back to ourselves and then just keep reading that letter again and again and again. And what you realize when you write a letter about blaming everybody for your life and all of the things that happened to you when you were a kid, that you start to realize that it's just absolutely ridiculous that no sane person would actually say this about themselves. I mean, you realize that why am I doing why am I shackling myself down with all of this baggage when all I need to do is just put it in the past? Just take all that stuff and put it in the past where it belongs, in the rearview mirror, and then be able to live into a new creation, a new future for myself with all of that baggage. So when I did that, I literally laughed after reading that letter 10 times or more. I don't remember what it was. It was a while ago. So, but when I did that and I finally had the breakthrough and realized the absurdity of it, it literally set me free. I did not realize how much weight I was carrying around on my shoulders and in my chest, where I carry a lot of the stress. And I felt like a new person, literally felt like a brand new person with a whole world of opportunities awaiting me. And I remember when I walked out of the workshop for lunch that day, or maybe it was in the evening, and I looked at I walked outside, and it was in Chicago, and it was daytime, so I had to end up for lunch. I walked outside, and the world literally, and I'm not kidding you, it looked different to me. It was like there was a filter that was taken off, and I was seeing things clearly, which is just crazy. But I remember it like it was yesterday. And it literally was the day that, my life changed for the better. And it was all about just putting all of that crap and putting it all into the past where it belonged. So I put it out to you. What are the relationships? What are the things that you're holding on to that you blame people for? Who are those people that you may have friends that you haven't talked to in years because you had a fight back 10 years ago, 5 years ago, a year ago? You haven't talked to them. These are the things that are holding us back. We don't think it means anything, but it really does. So I would highly recommend and suggest that if you're looking for some freedom, if you're looking for a change in your life, and I think a lot of people stress and a lot of people have things going on in their lives that they don't have the answers for. I would say it starts with cleaning up with the relationships that you have in your life. If you're not talking to a parent, or you're not talking to a sibling or a great friend because you have had an argument with them a while ago, trust me, that is in this formula, that is showing up in your future all the time. You don't know it because it's just normalized now, but you are. And so I want you to consider the possibility that your life could be a lot different from how it is right now, especially if you're struggling with not feeling like you're living out to be your full potential. There's opportunities out there and things can change. So this was by far one of the most impactful lessons that I ever learned, and I wanted to share it with you because I believe that heck, if it worked for me, it can certainly work for everybody else. Because although, and what's so funny is that, when I looked at my past and the way that I grew up, how fortunate I was, how lucky I was to be in the place that I was, to have the friends that I had, to to be in the position to be able to do the things that I've been able to do. And now, living where I live in Florida and having a great house and a great life and my wife and, and everything else that we've been able to do has just been fantastic. But that lesson that I learned that I just told you about, I go back and I always say that was, there was the day that I was born, and then there was that date in 2001 where my life literally changed because it opened up a whole new world for me. So I hope that you take this lesson and think about it, internalize it, figure out if it's something that you need to do. And if so, then take the opportunity and do it. because it will make a massive impact in your life. And if you're looking for, something to be different because there's something different out there for you, there's something better, that you haven't reached your potential yet, this could be a piece of that puzzle.